Hello and welcome to class. Today, you are going to learn the most sustainable way to grow big buds utilizing organic methods, where my goal is to bring you the best education on sustainable gardening. In this class, we will learn how to prepare your soil for transplanting in the ground and containers, and different methods for irrigating. You will learn how to prune your plants for optimal growth and increased yield, and how to propagate clones from biomass. Also, why trellising is so important and different options to support those big, fat, sticky buds. And finally, you will learn the different nutrient requirements needed for flowering cycle of plant growth. You will receive recipes you can use throughout this cycle, and we will discuss how to maximize your soil's available phosphorus for optimal yields. Try to incorporate as many companion plants and cover crops as possible. So really bringing in as much organic matter as possible is going to grow you big buds. And nitrogen fixing plants are legumes. Native species that I'm familiar with is like hairy vetch. Queen of automated irrigation. I do not like hand watering, having to hand water every single time, right? Setting up irrigation is going to help you achieve better yields because your plant is going to be regularly watered despite your busy schedule, right? And literally just looping it around your plant. This is directly planted in the ground. So every time I transplant, I am using inoculant specific to cannabis. So when I'm doing my containers, I'm using a variety of species, but when I am doing my root zone, I'm dipping my plant in the inoculant, or I'm watering in during that transplant. I am using specific strains for cannabis and making sure that it's touching those roots. So, and then as they grow, you put a second layer on, and after they've grown a few feet, and then maybe even a third. I really use just 2 layers of trellising most of the time. Once a cannabis plant has transitioned into flower, it has a set amount of nodes that will become flower sites. That's it. Once it's transferred into flower, no new nodes will appear. So if you remove the ones that are going to be subprime spaces, you're directing the excess sugar to the optimal colas, the optimal flowering sites, increasing your quality of flowers.
And I'm going to cut directly below this node, and most people are going to tell you to cut at a diagonal. I'm going to tell you don't. You know why? Think about this. If someone is going to cut off your arm, do you want them to cut at an angle, or do you want them to cut straight across?
So it cost me $1.52 to make enough cloning solution for 1,500 clones. This is a highly sterile process and much more difficult to do than the other traditional type of cloning, but it's nice to have in your back pocket in case you have genetics that you want to save, and maybe a virus that came around and you accidentally, infected your plants, or something could happen, and it's really good to just refresh your moms. So our soil, living soil, has everything in it that your plant needs. But if we're wanting to increase our yields, we should be feeding our plants a little bit here and there with teas, and whether this is actually nutrient teas or just enzyme teas to accelerate and break down the availability of the nutrients in our soil is up to you and what you're comfortable with. And then when you get into week 3, you're going to start ramping it up with the potassium and phosphorus and pull back. Don't put any more fish in that. We're done with fish. You should have enough nitrogen left in your soil to pull it through to the end of harvest. If parasitic wasps, hoverflies, love it. So again, you're increasing your microbial activity, you're increasing your enzymes, you're increasing your acids that are breaking down phosphorus, you're increasing your mycorrhizal network, and you are attracting those beneficial insects. So it's an amazing companion planter. We reviewed preparing your garden, your soil, improving your quality by pruning and trellising, how to clone and propagate, increasing our yield with a nutrient schedule, solubilizing microbes, and how important phosphorus is during the flowering cycle of growth. We've got it all covered. You guys are going to grow fat, big buds. I know it.